As far as generating documentation directly from my model is concerned, the main new feature introduced in Allplan 2026 is the so-called graphic override. What is the graphic override? Essentially, I have the ability to define a series of rules. For example, deciding whether or not an object is load-bearing and then assign it graphic information. So, if my object is load-bearing, it should be represented in blue. On the other hand, if it is not load-bearing, it should be represented in green. Allplan provides a set of pre-configured graphic overrides such as fire resistance class, design status, and load-bearing structure, but at any time I have the possibility to create my own combinations and thus my own sets of graphic overrides. Let's see how it all works with a simple example. Here on the screen I have set up a series of columns. At this point I move into the definitions and call up the graphic override. My graphic override contains a whole series of pre-configured elements: the load-bearing structure, the design status, and the fire resistance class. Based on certain criteria, we'll see how the graphics will change. Let's try selecting, for example, the first graphic override, which is the load-bearing structure. I select all these columns and set them as load-bearing. So now they will be displayed in blue. Let's change the type of graphic override and think in terms of design status. All these columns have the project status. When I change the status to demolition, they will be displayed in yellow. Let's do one last example. So let's select the graphic override for fire resistance class. I select my components, I change the fire resistance class, and the graphic representation automatically changes. It changes according to the rules I have defined. At the same time, I place that document directly within my print layout. So I go ahead and make a series of copies in order to obtain 4 different representations. So we have the first document, which will not have any kind of graphic override property. The second, we will assign the information related to the fire resistance class. The third, we will give the design status information. And the fourth, we will assign the load-bearing structure information. So from the same model, I can obtain different graphic representations. This tool is essential when I need to make evaluations and analyses. Another extremely interesting aspect is that when I export this type of model, all these color gradations will be preserved.